Everybody, hope you're having a good day and I hope you're having a good week. As always, I got my stack of papers so I'm prepared with the facts, with the news articles, with the data, etc. I don't get excited very often. That's actually a lie. I actually do get excited very often. I'm an excitable person, but I'm a little bit excited because it's booster season. We were waiting for this because you had so many people tell me I'm fully vaccinated, and I was like, no, for sure, no, definitely you are until you're not. And that's just how the science works. So it's booster season, folks. It's time to strap up. It's time to strap up and get pumped up, folks, because it's booster season. It's Booster Boy summer. So we're going to talk about that. Reuters, all jokes aside, U.S. to advise COVID-19 booster shots 8 months after vaccination, New York Times reports. I have ABC right here. We're going to read it along like a children's read along, except we're adults mostly here. 5 things to know about Biden's plan to roll out COVID-19 boosters this fall. It's really interesting. And then I want to talk about New Zealand throwing their country back into a lockdown over one case of the mythical Delta variant, they think, and they're back in lockdown. This is just shocking stuff. It's time. Every time I go live, people say, well, normally I like that video, but I didn't like what you said about Trump. Well, normally I like that take, but I don't like that take. It's time to mask up or shut up, folks. Okay, I'm like the government. I'm like New York City. You're like, hey, anomaly, I don't like. It's like it's time to mask up here, folks. Let's be safe, okay? Maybe put it if the vision is bothering you here, maybe throw it over your eyes and just pull a Helen Kell. But I'm just kidding. I got to be careful with my sarcasm because then they're going to fact check me and say, fact check, don't put the mask over your eyes. Duh. It's just a joke. Before I start real quick, I had a funny idea because I know, there's a lot of money in big pharma advertising. They have a lot of money. They do a lot of lobbying in politics. They do a lot of lobbying of influencers. I mean, it's a multi-billion, trillion-dollar industry, whatever. They have a lot of money to spend. So I thought of this genius idea. So Pfizer's out there, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, take my ideas for free. I don't want your money, but this is an idea. So we all love the Backstreet Boys. I came up with rebrand them, call them the Booster Boys, put them at the headquarters of the World Health Organization and have them just reinvent themselves as the Booster Boys. And they can roll out this new era of booster shots. And I even have a song. It goes, I want it jab way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a Pfizer. Tell me why ain't nothing but Moderna. Little fever, that's okay, man. Na, na, na. I want my booster. And then you could have vaccines coming, like a little needle coming out of their head. Live performance at the World Health Organization, Booster Boys. I'm just saying it's a good idea. Feel free to take my ideas. I know I'm more creative than your department because instead of hiring creative people, they're like, we need to be more diverse here. And he's like, hey, I've been here for 15 years. They're like, yeah, but your skin color is not the right skin color. We're going to bring in some guy who's half as good as you because we decided that he's like a Vietnamese transsexual. So take my ideas. I know why you guys aren't creative. You guys don't even try to perform anymore. But Booster Boys live performance at the World Health Organization, I think it's a smash hit. But I'm a serious news host, so I got to get back to the data. First things first. So U.S. to advise COVID-19 booster shots 8 months after vaccination. This is just so funny to me. Anyway, I got this right here as top stories. I know you guys can't see it. It's black and white because my color printer's running out. Okay, it costs like $40. I don't know why I print so much. I love these little things in my hand. It's fun, but I'm going through like $100 of ink every 2 weeks. It's not worth it. But anyway, this is a CNBC reported 6 hours ago. They said the NIH director says that new Israeli COVID data is building a case for booster shots in the United States. So the National Institute of Health directors like, hey, this new Israel data is serious. I think we're going to need some boosters. Do you know what's funny? My data says that the NIH that he works for, the National Institute of Health, they actually own part of Moderna. Look it up. Axios did a whole article about how the National Institute of Health actually owns part of the Moderna vaccine. So they have a patent. How does that work? The government owns part of the patent. They print trillions of dollars whenever they want. They're like, CARES Act, we care about you so much. And Trump's like, we care about you. And Pelosi's like, we care about you. And then people fight each other. And they're like, oh my God, coronavirus. And it's like they just printed $1 trillion. So where does that money go? I don't know. I'm just curious. Like when the NIH owns part of a patent of a vaccine that's making billions upon tens of billions of dollars, where does that money go? To Social Security, to the homeless, to this guy's pockets? No, I'm just kidding. So my data says that, they own part of the Moderna, but his data says that, the Israel data is building a really strong case for booster shots. I'm sure it is, boy. This is what's interesting. So I Haaretz, I don't know if you guys know Haaretz, but it's a Jewish, I think, Israeli media out of Israel. I believe, I do my research. I believe Haaretz is like one of the oldest, if not the oldest, like Israeli publication. But you got to look that up. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, Haaretz said that Israel ignores World Health Organization's plea to stop COVID-19 booster shots. And then the next one is Times of Israel that says 1 million Israelis get third dose with early data showing heightened protection. So apparently the World Health Organization doesn't want them to give out booster shots. Israel's just out there in the World Health Organization like, no, when I disagree with the World Health Organization, I get my post fact checked. When Israel disagrees with the World Health Organization and they start giving out third boosters, apparently that's fine. I can't tell the truth 5 months in advance, but they're out here giving. I just found it fascinating. It's like you can't disagree with the experts. It's not possible to disagree with the World Health Organization. But apparently, according to Haaretz, they're pleading Israel to stop with the booster shots. They're like, dude, just stop. And they're like, no, never. So they're giving out 1 million booster shots. So let's just look at this real quick. And I have to, before I get into this, because I really don't want to do this because I'm tired of a lot of things, but I'm also just filled with life and joy. I have to go through the past because they keep making so many mistakes. It's literally hilarious. So this is Business Insider from March 30th, 2021. This is the very trustworthy, very sane and rational and reasonable CDC director under Biden. This is the headline. It says CDC director says that data suggests vaccinated people can't carry the virus or do not carry the virus. That's wrong now. We know that's wrong. We know that that's not true. But in March, when everybody was in line for this product, they were telling you, the CDC director, well, our data says that you can't carry the virus if you get the vaccine. That's literally Business Insider in March, and everybody gets in line, and then it's like, oh well, that wasn't true. But I mean, don't be right. I mean, God forbid you're right in advance. They'll censor you. They're allowed to be wrong. They're allowed to lie to people, but God forbid you tell the truth 5 months before they do. They have a conniption. And, this lady, I got to read real quick. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says data suggests fully vaccinated people don't carry COVID-19. We know now that that's false. On Monday, the CDC released a study finding mRNA vaccines 90% effective at preventing infection. Don't know if those hold up still. And Walensky elaborated on the optimism and impending doom she feels around the pandemic. So is this something the CDC's director should be doing? She's like, impending doom. It's like, why not go on television and tell people it's going to be tough, but we're going to get through this? If you're overweight and obese, it's probably better to lose weight if you want to have a better chance of fighting COVID-19 based on our data of 78% of people hospitalized with obesity. Try to get exercise, try to make sure you're eating better, and we're all going to get through this, but we all have to do our part. Wouldn't a good leader say that? Not impending doom, it works, the product works, impending doom, get in line, you can't carry the virus, impending doom, and then people get in line, they're like, oh, actually, no, that wasn't right, but whatever. And I don't want to do this, but at the same time, I actually do want to do this, so oops, fact check, lie. I do want to do this. This is Reuters, okay? Mainstream Reuters. You see the five. I don't make this stuff up, folks. This is all, I hold it up because I know at this point, whichever government agent is like, their task is to watch my videos. They're like, watch this guy. He's getting pretty intense over here. We don't want any sort of activity. It's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a news reporter. But anyway, whoever's like in the government that's like paid to watch me, they have to be having the best time. That's a lucky employee right there. They're having a blast taking notes on this stuff. But anyway, and I know there's probably Facebook fact checkers too. That's like, just like, where's he getting that? It's like, it's from your own crap. It's from Reuters. So that's why I hold it up. But we're having the best time. February 17th, 2021, not that long ago. Remember February? It says Israeli study finds that Pfizer vaccine is 95% effective against COVID-19. That's Reuters in February. Israel data says that Pfizer vaccine is 95% effective. Remember that number, 95% effective, because that's going to change. And unfortunately, I have a printer. That was it's like when humans and Neanderthals like discovered the wheel. It's like you shouldn't have got that. Now they're driving all over, acting crazy. You shouldn't. I should have never got a printer. Okay, I'm too good with this thing. But this is CNBC from July, just a few months later. It says Israel says Pfizer COVID vaccine is just 39% effective as Delta spreads, but still prevents severe illness. So in just a few months, I'm just going to hold that up for my Facebook fact checker that's like slobbering at the mouth because she's not used to hearing the facts. It's like they just make mistakes, lie, and then just don't nobody better tell me that I'm. It's like I'm just going to hold them side by side. February, the Pfizer vaccine is 95% effective, says Israel. July, Israel says Pfizer COVID vaccine is only 39% effective. Uh-oh, those numbers went down. Uh-oh, I didn't make it up. And here's the funny thing. You can do your own research and Google how long does it usually take a vaccine to hit the market. This is not me. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is like mainstream reality. You could look up when was the quickest vaccine to market before the COVID-19 vaccine. What was the fastest they took it through studies exactly and brought it to market? I believe it was 4 to 5 years in that category. So whether they want to tell you this or not, whether they want to let you know this, I don't know how controversial this is, but they did do studies in order to give this an emergency use authorization. They did their own studies. They came to conclusion with a small group of people and said, okay, this is 95% effective, and we can emergency use authorize this to the public. It's not FDA approved yet. It takes longer, but it's an emergency. It's a pandemic. We got to get this out there, and then we're going to study more of it later. That's what they did. I know they're not going to tell you that, but that's literally what they did. Okay, so now hundreds of millions of people get this. In Israel, millions of people get this. Now they're getting more data because it's not FDA approved. You are the trial. You're the bigger study. If they do a study with 20, 30, 40,000 people, that's good. If you do one with 20, 30, 40 million people, it's even better. You have longer term data. That's what they're doing. So when they told you that it was 95% effective in Israel, and now they're telling you it's 39% effective, that's the research that they normally do before they release it to the public. That's just the truth. So it's just funny to me that they're blaming like it's your fault. If you're vaccinated, it's your fault. Get in line for a booster. Oh, okay, geez, I'm sorry. I didn't know that I needed another. Okay. If you didn't get it, it's your fault as well. If there's a variant, it's the Delta's fault. I mean, do you think that for other coronaviruses, for other influenzas, I'm not saying this is the same as a coronavirus or an influenza, like a different one. I'm just being honest. Do you think that there's not variants and mutations? Do you think this is the first time that this has ever happened with a respiratory illness and something that's contagious? I don't think it is. And I think they know that. And I know that because I read the Scientific American and I've done a lot of research on the flu vaccine and how they actually try to predict in the hemispheres which one's going to hit which hemisphere because there's different strains of the flu. This is all mainstream data. So when their studies go from 95% effective of the emergency use authorized vaccine to 39% effective, CNBC, mainstream Israel data, it's your fault. It's Delta's fault. What about just telling people the truth? We got this out to you as quick as possible. Our early studies showed that it was really, really effective. And the newer ones show that it's not as effective as we thought. Well, they just can't tell you that because they're a bunch of salesmen. And you got Donald Trump running around telling everybody he saved 100 million lives. He's like, if you're a teacher, okay, I think you should get it, okay? If you're a teacher, okay, I love the teachers, okay? Nobody loves the teachers more than me, okay? I'm the best president ever. Okay, Joe Biden. Okay, go get the vaccine. Okay, 100 million people were saved by me. Okay, I might have just saved the world with my vaccine. Okay, Spanish flu. This is not a flu, but the Spanish flu killed 100 million people. Okay, so I think teachers should go and get it. Okay, it's like Trump's selling the vaccine. DeSantis is selling the vaccine. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is selling the vaccine. I just have a question for them. And I'm not being mean. I'm being funny. Are they going to keep selling boosters every year? That's just my question. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm like, is DeSantis going to tell people every year to get the booster? Is Sarah Huckabee Sanders going to tell everybody to get the booster? Is Biden, I'm just curious. Like, is Trump going to get up there and be like, okay, my vaccine saved 100 million lives, okay? Nobody did it like me, okay? 100 million lives like the Spanish flu, okay? And it's time to get back in line for the booster, okay? Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, all great companies, okay? American companies, okay? I'm just curious. Are they going to tell people to get the booster, or is there a certain point where they're like, okay, it's like year 7, we're on 9 boosters or something. The CDC is fighting with the World Health Organization. They're blaming the Lambda variant. Like, I'm literally just curious. Okay, let's just let's read this article, because I gotta divert to the experts. You got to understand, folks, it's about the mainstream news, the experts. That's why we read it here. We really trust these people, these journalists that really fight so hard for America and science. So, ABC, let's read it. It says, ABC News, 5 things to know about Biden's plan to roll out COVID boosters this fall. If the FDA agrees, COVID vaccine boosters will begin rolling out in September. The Biden administration is expected to announce as soon as this week a plan to roll out booster shots, okay, for all Americans who got the Pfizer or Moderna COVID vaccines more than 8 months ago. Any plan would be contingent upon getting a green light from federal agencies who say they are still reviewing the data. So the Biden administration wants a booster like Israel. Apparently, the World Health Organization doesn't want Israel to roll out the booster. They're pleading for them to stop. And the Biden administration wants a booster, but the FDA and those agencies said they're not done reviewing it yet, according to ABC. It says, here are 5 things to know about the boosters. Booster shots could begin as early as September, number 1. Number 2, 8 months isn't a precise measure of when immunity wanes. A person's immune system is a complicated puzzle. With antibodies in a person's bloodstream is only one piece. Scientists say they are looking at other clues too, including closely watching COVID-related hospitalizations involving vaccinated people. Number 3, new hospitalization data might hold more clues on immunity. Okay. Number 4, the FDA and CDC have yet to sign off. Pfizer and BioNTech have submitted early data to the FDA, but are still tracking people who got the vaccine. When those results are finalized, the companies are expected to ask the FDA to greenlight the 3rd shots. Okay. And number 5, it says lesser is known about people who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They're like, F you. No, I'm just kidding. It says, so far, the plan to roll out boosters is focused on Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, which rely on similar technology, the mRNA. Less is known about Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which rolled out later than Pfizer and Moderna and has been given to considerably fewer people. Government officials say more data are expected in the coming weeks. So that's what you need to know about the booster rollout. Me personally, like, this isn't a game to me. I don't think it's funny, but I do have to entertain myself because it's a crazy world. So I'm not just going to sit here and mope on Twitter and fight with like 55-year-olds who are like, Anomaly, I liked you for 3 years, but that one tweet I really didn't like that much. It's like, then just be quiet about it and unfollow. Like, I don't need to hear how you want to tell me how disappointed you are in me. Just wait till you hear how disappointed I am in you, Don. It's like, just leave me alone. It's like Don Rickles. No, that's an actor. Whatever. I'm not trying to pick on people, but it's like everyone. Anyway, I have to make fun of some of this stuff, or else it just drives me crazy. With that being said, it's kind of funny to me that they're rolling out a booster because all these people are like, I'm fully vaccinated. It's 95% effective. And then they're like, I'm fully vaccinated. Israel says it's 39% effective. And then they're like, I'm not fully vaccinated now. It's like, yeah, you're not. Like, you got to get back in line for the booster when the FDA says so. So it's kind of funny to me. And I don't like to laugh at other people's demise or et cetera. I understand people are dying, getting sick, but it is just kind of interesting how they promised you the world. It fell through. They said it was this, that fell through. They said that you could take your mask off. That fell through. Places like Royal Caribbean said, if you're vaccinated, you can do this. That fell through. 95% of the cruise boats are vaccinated. That fell through. Now they're giving tests to everybody, even if you're vaccinated. That fell through. Mask mandates on cruise. That fell. It's like all this stuff is falling through. And what do people expect? I don't understand what you expected. The more you comply, the more they realize that they have the power to do stuff. I mean, that's just like basic stuff. And then I'm going to move to New Zealand. But before I do, I just found a little what would you call it? A contrast? I think that's the right word. A contrast between, and I'm not talking colors because, like I said, black and white. I ran out of color ink. Very unprofessional. This is CBS News from a day ago. It says New York City vaccine mandate starts on Monday for indoor dining, gyms, and entertainment and venues. So New York City is trying to make it, if you don't have a vaccination, which is about to, I guess, run out or something, and then you got to get the booster because it's not quite going to work like they, it's not. It's like people are running out of time. It's like September, October, November. Back in line, booster boys. We can get the booster boys, Backstreet Boys. They can perform a venue in New York City and get you guys back in line, whatever. But so in New York City, if you're like a regular citizen, you got to do this. But I just found this interesting. This was just like July. It said Biden administration not mandating COVID vaccines for White House staff, said Jen Psaki. I just find it weird how like Jen Psaki's staff, and I agree with her. I don't think she should mandate it for her staff. I think that's the right thing to do. But it's like for the White House staff, we're not mandating it, for our staff. But, if you live in New York City, like, yeah, for you. I just find that interesting. I really do. New Zealand, I love New Zealanders, will enter a nationwide lockdown today over a single case. One case. Bloomberg. Crazy. Gotta make sure I don't trip on that now. But I'm gonna read it. This is a Reuters. New Zealand thrown into lockdown over a single suspected Delta case. Has anybody asked the question, do they have a test for Delta? Do they have a test for Delta? Delta's just like, oh, we have one case. It must be a Delta. We got to lock down. Did they test for Delta? Let's read the article. New Zealand in a 3-day strict lockdown from Wednesday. 3 days. 15 days to slow the spread. 7 days in Melbourne. Like just 3. Yeah. Nobody should ever trust these people. When they tell you it's 15 days to slow the spread, 3 days to get the Delta, have people learned nothing? I wish I could just trust these people, but they just keep lying. It's insane. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern put New Zealand under strict lockdown on Tuesday after the country's first coronavirus case in 6 months was reported in the largest city of Auckland. Ardern said, go hard, go early strategy helped curb COVID-19. But her announcement left people struggling to stack up essentials, business shut abruptly, and schools and offices think about, this is worse than like a Black Mirror episode. If you guys don't know Black Mirror, it's like a 1984 Orwellian, new show. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I've seen it a few times. They do like creepy sci-fi things like, what if this happened? And it's like, whoa, I would hate a zombie apocalypse. And it's like, this is as creepy or creepier. It's like one case of COVID and they have to shut an entire country down, all commerce, all business, all schools. Do people not get it yet? It's pretty obvious, but maybe this is like an IQ test. I've seen some memes. It's like, if this was an IQ test, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying at this point, like, what do people not understand about this? And I want to say something real quick. Then I'm going to get to questions and comments and shut my mouth before I say something that I'm going to regret. Last summer, around this time, right? Not that many people were traveling. Most people were not traveling. People were afraid to travel. People were not going to sporting events like normal. People weren't going on business travel. They weren't flying all over the place. So there was less travel last summer, right? This summer, there's way more travel, way more sports events, way more stuff going on, and there's way more testing in certain areas. So in order to fly to Hawaii, you got to get a test. In order to go to this, Lollapalooza, if you don't have a vaccine, you have to get a test. In order to go on Royal Caribbean, you have to get a test. If you go back to work in New York City, a lot of people are trying to test some of their employees. If you do this, you have to test. So there's a lot more testing. And I got to look at the testing numbers from this point to last point. But I just know out of people that I know that normally wouldn't get tested, they have to get tested to do all these things. So when you're testing this much, is it really surprising that there's cases in certain places like Israel? I'm sure there's a lot of Israelis traveling this year, going back and forth, getting tested all the time. At what point do people realize and wake up and say, I don't think, although I think sickness is bad, I don't think the government and the corporations have the right to take my stuff, take away my job, take away my travel, take away my gym, take away all of my human rights. to claim to try to kill a sickness that clearly, if you look at places like Gibraltar, if you look at places like Australia and Israel, it might not even be possible. And this is not a crazy thing to think. I would love to kill cancer. I know it's not contagious, but I'm just saying, but it's increasing over the years. I would love to kill a lot of sicknesses, but that's not always what we can do. I wish we could. Some we can eradicate. With this one, they're reporting now in the news that herd immunity is mythical. You could find articles from January, March, February of this year that say herd immunity is going to come when everybody gets the jab. And now CNBC, NBC, mainstream news is reporting herd immunity might not even be possible because of the Delta variant. So they keep flip-flopping on their story. And at a certain point, people need to realize psychotic, power-hungry politicians will use an emergency to gain power. Psychotic industries that have tens of billions of dollars to gain off of this, and they have a sweetheart deal where no matter what happens to somebody, no matter if they get a side effect, an injury, Guillain-Barré, myocarditis, death, I'm not saying it's common, but I'm saying that it happens and they know that. Well, they don't even have liability. They have the biggest, sickest deal ever. They have immunity from liability. So if you get it, you don't have immunity according to the Israel data yet, unless I guess maybe you get the booster. They're trying to figure this stuff out. We'll find out in weeks, whatever. But they have immunity from liability for stuff that happens. And you could tell that these people don't care about you because in New York, do they have exceptions? Some people have medical notes. Some people have immunocompromised problem where their doctor suggests they shouldn't do it. Some people have Guillain-Barré syndrome. Some people have myocarditis. Some people actually have things that happen. They're real. The CDC admits that. Everybody knows that. They've talked about it for 20, 30 years, Guillain-Barré syndrome. Some people really have that. I know it's rare, but some people do. So are you going to give them a pass and let them eat in a restaurant? Oh, you're not? Oh, you're not going to give them a pass? Oh, you're going to kick the drummer of Offspring? Literally, he got kicked out of the band because he has Guillain-Barré syndrome. These people are literally psychotic, evil tyrants. They will never stop. And I hope people realize that because it's not about whether you got the jab or not. It's not about what medication you take or not, or whether you get in line for the booster or not. It's about giving the government and corporations and local authorities power to say that you can't access society unless you get in line every 8, 9, 10 months or whenever they decide for the product, which, by the way, the reason, I know they don't want to tell you this, but the reason the Israel data went from 95% effective to 39% effective in just a few months is not this crazy conspiracy theory where something radical happened. They haven't tested this as much as they do other stuff, and they can lie about that all they want, but the quickest vaccine to market was 4 to 5 years. An average vaccine takes probably even longer than that. And this one, they wanted to get out to the public under emergency use authorization. So according to Bill Gates and according to any scientist with a brain or any person with a brain, the way to emergency use authorize something that doesn't have FDA approval is to get it out. And then you study more and more and more and more. The big trials are right now. We're witnessing it. Okay, well, we thought it was 95%. Now it's 30 something percent. And now you got to get a booster shot. So you are like a sicko experiment where you're not only allowing them to do that, but you're allowing them to say that you can't work without one. You can't go to a restaurant without one. And that's a precedent that will never end. It's like 15 days to slow the spread. You give the government 15 days to slow the spread, it turns into 30, 40. Some places have never recovered from the tyranny and maybe never will because you open the floodgate and then they came in through the door. So that's what this is. If you want to get something, then go get it. If you want to, for your health, make a decision, yes or no, that's on you. I would never tell anybody, and people ask me for advice all the time. What do you think I should do? I don't want to tell you what to do, just like I don't want to tell you what to eat. What should I eat for breakfast, Anomaly? What should I drink coffee or not? Should I drink tea? I don't know. I'm not you. I don't tell people what to do. I know some people do. They tell you, go get it, go get it. Sean Hannity, get it. Trump says, get it. Some people say, don't get it. I'm not telling anybody anything because who am I to tell you what to do? Talk to somebody, know yourself and make a decision. I've made my decision, and my decision is I would rather starve to death, become an Amish, or live on a farm before I live in a sicko B system that is going to kick 72% of Black people and Black youth in New York City from sitting at indoor restaurants because they didn't get the double shot, which is now eventually going to be a triple shot because the efficacy was not what they originally said it was. That's the truth. So people got to figure out, do you want to be like Australia and be on permanent lockdown? Do you want to be like New Zealand, a country that can't do anything and just has to sit there and watch the government lock them down over one case? That's going to be America if people don't wisen up. And the great news is we already have better options than these countries. We have, I definitely critique the Republican Party a lot, not because I'm a hateful person or because I'm a Democrat. I'm actually a registered Republican, but I do it because when the Republican Party gets too weak, we end up like Canada or Australia. That's what they do. The two-party system, they both become the same. They both serve big pharma. They both do all this banker stuff and bail out loans, and then they become the same party, and you have no chance. I don't want to see that happen in America. That's why I critique the Republicans so much. And that's why I'm so sick of these like bootlicker accounts that all they do is worship and slobber over these Republicans like they're action figures. It's like, get a grip. You guys are becoming complicit when Donald Trump says 100 million people he saved their lives and you guys won't report on it. It's like you're kind of becoming what you hated, controlled op, or people that just slobber over like partisan politics. It's gross, and it's hurting the Republican Party because everybody hears the same thing. It's a big echo chamber, just like the left. But what I'm saying is, I do want to compliment people in America. Rudy Giuliani's son, say what you want about him. I don't know. He's running for some sort of office, maybe mayor. He's leading a protest outside Bill de Blasio's house against vaccine passports. As annoying as Republicans are and as fake as some Republicans are, it's pretty cool to have major figures in this country, even people that you might disagree with on something, Giuliani's son, DeSantis, others, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are saying no to the vaccine passport. That's very important. A lot of countries are not that lucky. So while we can critique our own side, it is nice to know that we actually do have somewhat of a movement in America and politicians in America who are not willing to do that. In a place like New Zealand, the entire country's under a lockdown. Let's never go there. Let's not allow this to happen. And let's understand that this medical tyranny movement to zap your, medical records in order to let you sit at a restaurant is a precedent that will never go away. I don't care if you got two. I don't care if you get the third one. I don't care if you're on booster number 7 in 6 years. This is going to negatively affect you. Please, people, think about it. Yvette with the super chat said, my friend works for the NCL. In April, all the employees were required 2 jabs. Since then, dozen got COVID. Now mandatory PCR. What a friggin' deal. I'm out. LOL. That's what I'm saying. It's like you get the 2 jabs. They promise you the world. Then they tell you that you still have to get tested all the time. I guess NCL is what? Norwegian Cruise Line? Oh, yeah, I've been following the cruises completely. Get the 2 jabs. You're going to be good. Get the 2 jabs. Now they have to get a test every single time, I believe, that they get on a cruise boat. Every person that's vaccinated still has to get a test before they go on. And then there's a mask mandate now on at least Royal Caribbean and Carnival, I know. It's unbelievable. Like, I hope people in America realized after they got everybody vaccinated and then told them to put the mask back on. I think that really might have been the move that woke a lot of people up. I hope so. Vic said, look at the study titled Smart Materials, Integrated Sensor Technologies, Nano. I'll look it up, Vic. Thank you. Mike said, don't believe the stats out of people of color. I know I'm New York, got the shot. Expect me. Don't believe the stats out of all the people of color. I know I'm New York, got the shot. I'm confused with what you're saying, but thank you for the super chat. You're saying you did or didn't get it? I'm confused. All right, I'm going to stay for a few more. How long was I here? 33 minutes? That's pretty solid. But I'm going to try to end this in under an hour and then leave this up. Thank you guys for watching. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or dreamrarechat on Telegram. I've been posting some stuff. I'm not posting on other social media there, so make sure you follow me. I'm not trying to be edgy. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, we can't become an echo chamber. I swear. What really disgusted me about the left wing, I'm just going to get personal now. When I was liberal growing up, I didn't even know what liberal meant. I didn't know what conservative meant. Everybody acted normal. Everybody had their disagreements. This guy was kind of a dick. This person was into animals and PETA. It's like, but nobody, you get what I'm saying? Nobody acted this way. And then when Trump got into office, liberals went insane, like literally insane. The type of friends that I grew up with never talked about they, them, they're, like that wasn't even a thing. They went, and what I hated about the left is they became, I would say lazy and not intellectually honest. And the whole thing became like a slobbering weakness fest where they didn't want to have a conversation about anything. Even Russell Brand will admit he's liberal, but he's like, I understand why people care about border security. Like legal and illegal immigration is a real like conversation I had. So what I hated about the left is they became an echo chamber. They all said the same things, they all thought the same things, and it was all wrong, and they wouldn't admit it. On the right wing, I'm not saying it's that bad, but it is getting that bad. There's so many accounts that I follow that I loved for so long, but now it's like everything's just slobbering over Trump, slobbering over Trump, slobbering over Trump, trying to idolize these politicians and make them look like they're rock stars and video game characters. And these are the accounts that most people follow. So they're literally being brainwashed to think that these Republicans are like literally superheroes who are saving their life when they're printing the money, when they're selling the product, when in many cases they locked down last year and did the same things the Democrat did for a shorter period of time. So it's going to destroy the movement that we've built if people don't start being critical and understanding of what's going on, and not just like becoming an NPC, a non-playable character where everybody says the same thing, thinks the same thing, says the same jokes. And it's like a pull string doll. You can go to 20 different pages and you'll know exactly what they posted because they're just posting what everybody else posted. It's fine to post memes. It's fine to have jokes, but the right wing echo chamber is becoming really like sad recently. And I'm like, I used to go here for like intellectual thought and like being on the cusp of issues. And now it's just like a Biden, Biden, Trump is the best. And I'm like, will you guys post anything of Trump like bragging about being the father of vaccines? Because a lot of these pages, they don't believe in that at all. But they're like, well, I don't believe it. But you won't cover it though. If Joe Biden did that, it would be on all of their pages. If Obama did that, they would all be talking about it. When Trump does it, they just cover it up like they're like, the press secretaries, like, little minions at the New York Times or something, just like, or like whatever, like the mainstream media to Biden, where they're just trying to make him look like he's amazing all the time. Like Joe Biden puts on glasses and he's like chocolate chip. And they're like, oh my God, Joe Biden is a hero, aviator pilot with his glasses. He's saving the world. Like that's like propaganda. That's what a lot of right-wing pages are becoming. It's just like Trump propaganda where they have no critical thoughts anymore. And it's really getting annoying. And the reason I go at it once again is it's not Canada's liberalism that destroyed Canada. It's Canada's Liberal Party and the fact that the Conservative Party became a beta Liberal Party too. In New Zealand, Australia, they don't have a Conservative Party because the Conservatives sold them out. When Trump shows you signs of kind of being that type of person, you can't just ignore it because you're going to wake up and be Canada. It's a two-party deception where they both do the same things, and it's just a big video game for everybody. I'm fired up. All right. Someone said I'm in New Zealand. James, let me know. What's the lowdown on the street? Someone said maybe change your diet and eat healthy. I think at the end of the day, whether you get the jab or not, it's very telling that they won't say this type of stuff. I mean, it's the biggest telltale. If I was a CDC director, which I would never be, but anyway, if I was the FDA director, CDC director, Trump, Biden, Hillary, whoever is like leading the people and whatever, I would get on TV, and even if I wanted to sell the Pfizer and the Moderna, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, I would tell people, listen, this is not going to be the be all end all. Like, I hope that you get it. And this is if I was that type of person, I hope that you get it. But at the same time, like, you have to eat better. Like, we're drinking too much sugar. We're drinking too much high fructose corn syrup. People are on 3, 4, 5 pills. Our life expectancy is going backwards because we're dying of opioids and suicide. People are not mentally well. People are not physically well in this country. And if you really want to fight COVID, and if you really want to fight, I guess, sickness and hospital beds, it's not just going to be medication. That's part of it, but also, definitely you could get a bad case of anything and it could hurt you even if you're healthy. But for the most part, we do know statistically, if you can improve your health and you're like a fit model, I'm not saying like mob, but you get what I'm saying, like a fitness like instructor or something versus someone that's 500 pounds, it's pretty clear that it's better to be really, really fit than it is to be really, really obese. That's not being mean or hateful. That's like the real science. So if we told people the truth, we could get more fit, and then just not everybody would be saved, but there would be a lot of people who would watch their, certain types of diabetes and heart disease and et cetera, high blood pressure. A lot of that could change. But they don't care. They don't care. How much more clear could it be to anybody with common sense that they don't care? They are selling a product. Trump is a vaccine salesman. He's not a dietitian. He's not a health salesman. He doesn't care if you work out or not, or you get to go to the gym. He's a vaccine salesman, like a used car salesman. He's a Pfizer and Moderna salesman. DeSantis sells the vaccine. Sarah Huckabee Sanders sells the vaccine. Biden sells the vaccine. Jen Psaki, they're all vaccine salesmen. As long, in my opinion, if it wasn't one mandated, but also if they mixed it in with like some real talk about health, I probably wouldn't care that much. But they don't do that at all. It's like, wham, 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 and they're acting like everybody's going to die off the face of the earth, and Trump saved us from like a volcano explosion because of his great it's like it's such a sloppy rollout, and it's like jammed down your throat. It's so obvious, it's not normal. It's the new normal. I don't like it. All right. Someone said, and they're turning people into hypochondriacs. Yeah, I think it's good to wash your hands. I think it's good to shower. I think it's good to be clean. It's very good to be clean. And there are a lot of disgusting Americans that cough all over people and stuff. So it's good to be clean. But I personally, this is not advice, but I don't even use, what's it called? Hand sanitizer. I've always known overusing hand sanitizer is not healthy. And recently there's this new report, like a bunch of hand sanitizers have carcinogens. It's like, duh. But also, it's okay to like do it once in a while, I'm sure. But if you're doing it like 5 times a day at a certain point, like, yeah, it's not really healthy to do that. So people are not just like cleaning up and washing stuff. Yeah, people are like hiding inside. When I was in a shitty apartment and I didn't really have a social life, I didn't have nothing to do, I worked from home a lot. The most sick I've ever been in my life ever is when I lived alone and I stayed inside too much. I mean, once I realized that I should get out every day, I should go for a walk, go to the coffee shop, whatever, get out of the house. Being inside the house is one of the worst things you could do, not just for your physical health, but for your mental health. I mean, it really destroys you. If you don't get outside your house and you're in there for 3 days, it drives you crazy, let alone what it does to your body. So I'm living proof that being inside too much is really bad for your body. You have to have a routine, you have to have somewhat of a social life, and you have to get out and get fresh air. You have to. So when they tell you to sit inside and they're scaring people to sit inside for 3 weeks and they're yelling at you when you go outside and they're arresting people in Australia, I mean, it's pretty safe to say they're trying to hurt you. Maybe they're just so psychotic that they don't know what they're doing, but whether they know what they're doing or not, they're hurting more people than they're helping. That's not healthy. It's not like you could sit inside and if you sit inside for 5 weeks, all viruses will go away and no one will be sick anymore. That's not even how it works. You can get sick while you're indoors. I've not left my house and gotten sick inside, and so have millions of people, because you can get sick inside. In fact, outside on a beach is a healthier place to be than inside with multi-generational family. Opening your window is a better idea for airflow than closing your window. I mean, this is like basic science of airflow. And there's even studies now that show that it's like you're better off opening and cracking a window than not doing that. But they don't want to tell you this stuff because they don't really care about you. I mean, it's like both parties have Stockholm syndrome. They think Joe Biden is their hero. Dr. Fauci is Brad Pitt. Donald Trump is Aquaman. It's straight up like WWE for people who don't want to just have basic common sense. It's getting creepy. And for a while, it just seemed like the left. And I thought the right was making a lot of progress. And then 2020, now I feel like the right wing accounts I follow are just as goofy and brainwashed as the left wing. It sucks. Melissa said doctors are still being censored for giving credible evidence of successful treatment. Oh, I know. I know that that's happening. You cannot disagree with the experts. You cannot talk about anything else. They have a product and they want to sell the product. So if you're threatening their sales and their agenda, they're destroying doctors. The reason I don't talk about stuff is not because I'm trying to cover it up. I don't know that much about treatments. People wanted me to talk about Ivor, what, and hydroxy, what. And I didn't not talk about it because I'm afraid of the censorship, although I know it would come. I don't take ivermectin. I don't take hydroxychloroquine. I don't take anything. So I like so many people are promoting that. If you're a doctor and you want to do that, like that's on you. But I don't take any pills. I don't take any medication. So I'm not promoting a medication that I have no idea about. And a lot of people did that. I mean, a lot of people did show data, but a lot of people, they just piggyback off what other people say. And I get it if you're sick, but I don't know that much about that stuff. I would only be regurgitating what someone else said. Red King said, "You're the man dream. You should debate Nino." Appreciate it. Nino, which Nino? Who wants to debate? Someone said there are contaminants in everything, even in the water. It's chemical waste. I'm sure there are contaminants all over the place, but I don't know that much. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own health routine, and that's why on here I don't give advice. People ask me, should I do this shit? I'm not an advice giver. I'm not a health expert. I'm not a nutrition coach. I'm in control of my life. Like I do what I want, and that's all I want. I want sovereignty over my own body. I'm gonna eat in after this live stream. CDC is not going to tell me what to eat. If it were up to the CDC, they would probably partner with Taco Bell and Mountain Dew and tell me to eat that. And maybe not, but I'm just being sarcastic. Anyway, it's like I don't want to give other people advice, but I'm not on pills. I'm on zero pills. People always think I'm drunk all the time. I'm not drunk. I barely drink alcohol. I do at some occasion, but I don't drink like ever. I don't think I've ever been live and drunk. Maybe like one time out of 400, and I wasn't even drunk. But in general, it's like I'm not drunk. I have energy because I don't just pop pills and sit on the couch and eat shitty food all the time. Like I drink coffee. I go out a lot, I exercise a lot, and that gives me energy. You actually can get energy without Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings. So does like jogging and having like a balanced work social life. And I'm not I'm just saying I say that to people not to give advice, but I'm not going to sit here and take pills and booster shots every 8 months because a psychotic government agency told me to. Like, if people want to do that, I don't have a problem, but they can't tell me what to eat for lunch or breakfast or dinner. And they certainly can't tell somebody that doesn't take a lot of pharmacy products to take a pharmacy product. Like, some people are on 5 pills. I don't take any. And I plan to do that my whole life. And God forbid something goes wrong, I'll make a decision for myself if I want to change that regimen. It's not going to be them. Someone said, look at the super chat. Look at the Moderna stock price, 40 March 2020. Now it's 400 plus. Oh, yeah. And the NIH owns joined a bit. Anomaly, go listen to KAAN. I went to San Francisco and watched JP Sears stand up, and it was amazing. Gave me some faith. Also, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, JP Sears is really funny, right? He seems like a cool guy. Holly said, have you noticed the black lights at night? No, but I don't know. Have I noticed that? I haven't. If you have, that's cool though. Sonia, thank you. April said I'm going to the super chats on Facebook. April said you explained this so well. I do my best. Papo, Pam, Ashley, Tony, thank you guys. April, Sean. Sean said, what does your data say about natural antibodies from getting COVID? I've seen many opinions. I haven't really looked at that data as far as, I don't know where those studies are. I know Thomas Massey's been talking about it a lot. He has some sort of science degree, and he's been interested in that. It's not that I'm not interested in the debate between natural immunity and COVID immunity, because I already know what's going to happen. The vaccine industries and the government is already telling people that, COVID jab immunity is better than natural immunity. I haven't seen the data, so I can't really speak on that. But for me, I don't live in this. I'm a very not like mentally insane person, but like I don't like to even think about certain things. That's just the type of person I am. I don't go and tell them what to do. This is my life. I don't watch television because I don't like the commercials. I don't like hearing about sicknesses all the time. I don't like thinking about things. I think you can manifest in this world. I don't think you can just grow a tree out of thin air. But if you think about stuff a lot, it weighs on your mind. There's an aspect to health that's not just physical, but it's mental. If you're very mentally unhealthy and you have a lot of stress and a lot of fear, this is not a conspiracy theory. Fear and stress negatively weighs down on multiple parts of your body. If you Google it, you could read all about it. So I try not to fear. I try not to have a lot of stress. I mean, I definitely have some in my arms and stuff because I'm always on the computer and I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm not perfect. I probably have more stress in certain muscles than most people, but I try not to, and I definitely do what I can. So I don't even like to think about, like, when they're talking about natural immunity, I get it, but I'm like, I've made a decision for my health. You guys can debate till the cow come home, which is better. I don't want to be forced that product. So I don't care what you're saying. I don't care if you're saying it's 100,000% great. It's like, that's cool. I'm going to drink orange juice, go for a jog and body surf. And then I'm going to play ping pong. And then I'm going to play tennis. And then I'm going to do push-ups and pull-ups. And then I'm going to eat dinner. and then I'm going to drink a smoothie. So while you're telling people that, that's what I'm going to do. And if you think it's so terrible, it's obviously not. But if you think that, then I could be a case study for you. Okay. I could be a placebo, and you could study my life of not sucking down your pharmacy products and just working out and exercising and, eating semi decent and sometimes terribly. Someone said something way bigger is going on. That's really clear. I definitely see that. And I can't tell you what they're planning, although if you read their documents, you could probably just read it for yourself. But at bare minimum, this is just like incompetence. At bare minimum, this is disgusting incompetence at its finest. I made a video a year or two ago where I tried to explain the whole system of how government works is bound to fail because every year they give you or you give them tax money, right? They get trillions of dollars in tax money and then they spend your money. And then when they run out of spending your money, they just print more money. So when it's Gavin Newsom or the whatever his name, the mayor of Los Angeles, if they get $1 billion for homelessness, if you were Amazon and you got $1 billion and you didn't perform your task, you would go out of business. So I don't think Amazon is the most moral company, but you're lying to yourself if you say that they don't have amazing service. They have perhaps. Amazon might have the best service in modern history. I'm not a big Jeff Bezos fan, but you order something, they'll bring it to you in like a day. It's insane how good it is because if they didn't produce, it wouldn't work. So the government's the opposite. They get $1 trillion. It doesn't even matter what they do. They're like, I built one thing in 5 years with $1 billion, or I built a big railroad that didn't work in the middle of nowhere and I wasted billions of dollars. It's like, do they get cut off? No, they get more money. Because they're stealing your money. They're taking your money. People would have known this 100 years ago. Taxes weren't normal. Everybody would have been like, you're stealing my money. But we're so brainwashed in America, we don't even think we're being robbed, and we're literally being robbed. So I'm not saying all corporations are perfect. Monopolies exist and phone companies can be corrupt, but still they give you amazing service. Cell phones are amazing. Internet is amazing. iPhones, although they're a degenerate company, they're amazing. Amazon is an amazing service. I'm not saying they're ethical or moral, but it's an amazing service. I can buy shorts for $20 and they come to my house tomorrow. It's insanely good. That's because corporations have to do something in order to get their profit, and the government is literally stealing your money. So we could talk about the World Health Organization and all these elites and Klaus Schwab, but I think there's something, even outside of the people and the characters involved, that whole system is a scammy system. But how are you going to wake up to that scammy system if people don't realize that it's going on? Liberals and progressives literally don't get any part of what I just said. So they're like, universal health care, we need to give it to Bernie Sanders. And it's like, universal health care would be the government monopoly over health, which already existed under Trump because apparently they could just shut us down whenever they want and everybody falls in line. So we already almost have that. That's not the solution. But then you go to the right wing and they just slobber over Donald Trump. I've never seen anything like it. They're like, well, we just need to get him back in office and Biden's in Afghanistan. It's like, did you not pay attention in 2020? Trump's administration printed, from what I read, upwards of $9 trillion or something, 6 trillion. I'm reading different reports. One says 9, one says 6. They're just making, and then inflation hits. If you take your tax money and they spend it, they're just robbing you. If they're printing money that they don't have, like Trump did in 2020 and Biden's doing in 2021, it causes inflation. It's not only supply and demand, but they're taking a fiat currency and just ballooning it and giving everybody a bunch of, it's going to inflate the price of things. It's going to debase the currency eventually. So it's like they just toss it back and forth. Trump, Biden, George Bush. There's a funny meme I saw. It was like George Bush dancing like this. He was like, yeah. And it said the feeling when, everybody's deciding whether to blame Donald Trump or Joe Biden for a 20-year war that you started. And he's just dancing. It's the perfect meme. It's like, George Bush was the guy to launch the war in Afghanistan. 20 years after the failure, it was going to fail either way. I mean, Biden could have been way more prepared, but it's a failing war. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, it's Biden. It's trying, like Bush is just dancing. He's like, haha, nobody's even blaming me. It's like, that's the whole like government scheme. Everybody just fights with each other one of the parties is definitely better than the other one, but they're both so corrupt. It's not even funny. If you would have told George Washington, dude, there's one party stealing 40% of my income, there's one party stealing 30% of my income, and they would have been like, they're both criminals. And you would have been like, no, 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 no. The Republicans has Donald Trump. And they're like, we don't care who they have. They're criminal. They're stealing your money. They're robbers. They're robbing your money. No, 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 no. No, you don't understand, dude. There's this one guy who's like a billionaire who, owns like casinos and hotels. And he says he's my best friend and he's like fighting for us. But also he's like printing money and taking money. Like George Washington would not be a meme account on Instagram saying Trump is Aquaman. He would literally be like, they're stealing your money. One of them stealing 40% and one of them stealing 30%. Taking 30 or 25% of your income, that's not conservative. That's called the Overton window, moving so far to psychotic that you just think it's normal. And that's how they operate. That's why I'm not like a normal Republican account, because they're just leading you to the slaughter. They're just telling you that their team's going to do something, and they're really not. It's already too far. That's why Trump in 2020, he didn't arrest all your enemies. He locked the country down with Dr. Fauci and Birx. I'm sorry that happened. Show me on the doll where it hurts you, but it's time to acknowledge that and figure it out, and then we could become a great country again. We're not a great country anymore. We're really not. The liberals have gone insane, and the conservatives are just like sarcastic. What would the left do? They don't do anything. They're just like court jesters. It would be like being on the Titanic and the Titanic is sinking and they're just like playing a mariachi song or something. And you think that they're like saving your world because they were on Sean Hannity one time. It's like, it's time to wake up. The solution is simple, but people got to stop playing this game. That's really all it is. It's so easy. All right. Someone said because Anomaly was hoodwinked, it's personal. Well, I mean, it's not even that it's just personal. That's part of it for sure. But also, more of it was I supported Donald Trump for 3 years. I didn't do it because someone paid me to do it. I didn't do it because I was obsessing and slobbering. I did it because he was doing a damn good job. I mean, there's a huge difference between black unemployment and stopping a war in Syria. That's amazing. I mean, all unemployment's amazing, but in any that's something that's interesting. You're like, wow, he's actually doing something that makes sense. Versus 2020, when he prints $9 trillion and goes from somebody who's skeptical of a product to being literally the biggest salesman of that product in modern history, saying in his, you get, I didn't change. He changed drastically and became the president overseer of something that I heard conspiracy theories about. Anybody that's into conspiracy theories heard about FEMA camps and lockdowns and martial law, and it sounds so crazy. And I'm not saying that exactly happened, but pretty much that happened in 2020. Every bad conspiracy theory came true, and Donald Trump turned into a vaccine salesman. So it's not like super personal to me, but at the end of the day, it's like the guy that sold you on he was going to save America just became another phony salesman for a product that, the industry lobbies both sides of politics. I'm not being irrational. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I don't hurt. It doesn't hurt me so bad what he did. He's hurting the country and he's not the right leader for this moment. And it sucks because he was crushing for so long. It's disappointing, but it's all good. M. Machado said, God bless, bro. Every American well is human. Hello, I'm down from San Diego. I hope we continue waking people up, but losing our freedoms. God bless everyone here. God bless you. God bless San Diego. Someone said, look at the SPARS document. I've seen it. I've seen the SPARS document. I've seen Event 201. It's all very interesting. Someone said, how do I contact you in real life like a 10-minute video call? I guess I have an option of that on Patreon, but I'm not trying to get you to pay me. But bro, I get 1,000 emails a week. I get hundreds of messages a day. I don't have a time to 10-minute video call you. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, how do I get on a video call with you? I don't know. Understand that I have tens of thousands of messages that I can't possibly physically read. And every time I log into Instagram, I have 100 new messages. So I can't FaceTime you. Not trying to be mean, but come on, dude. I do have an option on Patreon that's like a high price, and I've done it 3 times. I'm not trying to sell you because I don't need the money right now. I'm just saying. I don't know, dude. Like people will leave me, and I love messages. Don't get me wrong. I like when I can read them, and I like emails when I can read them, and I really appreciate everyone. I really do. I love the live stream because then I could read comments and it's more natural. Believe it or not, I actually have a life, and believe it or not, I don't like to sit on the computer all the time. I can't do this until I'm 60 years old. My back's gonna break. So I have to take a break. I don't just sit on my phone all day. I probably use my phone less than people who don't work on their phone. Like I'm pretty good. I'll put it down for 4 hours and I won't even look at my phone. With that being said, I love messages, but I just can't read them all. So sometimes people are leaving me like 20 audio chats, and some people leave me like video chats every 2 days. And I'm not trying to be rude, but like just be a little considerate, or like, come on, think a little bit. Like, I don't know you. I bet it's like I have family and friends that I want to talk to in my spare time. I don't have time to like, some people will send me 5 videos every day. I literally block them or put them in a group they don't even know they're in. Literally, I have like a general group on Instagram of people that just spam me crap, and they think they're like helping me fight the deep state or something, but they're really just banned for life because they can't get a hold of themselves. Like I'm like, they got 5,000 like unread video messages, and I'm like screaming into the camera. It's like, come on, bro. Just think a little bit. Someone said you're right. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be like straightforward, where it's like shorter is better, but also just be a little thoughtful. What do I think of the Socialist Republic of New Zealand, Stan? I think that it sucks what happened, but this is what happened to Australia and New Zealand. The people there, if you go to, I have a great book. It's called The Law by Frederick Bastiat, but I have other books too. In general, there's certain countries that never had the Americana spirit. What made America great, I believe, was not just Christianity, but it was the Constitution. The combination of those two made us the envy of the world for hundreds of years. We were free, we were prosperous, our economy was good, we had morals, we had values, and we were built off of like revolution. That's just what America is built off of. These other countries, no offense, they've been watered down for so long with their little, everybody's going to get the health care. And it's like, that's great because obviously you don't want to be like broke for going to the hospital. But at the same time, they got too lazy and too complacent. And big government, at the end of the day, it's time and time again been one of the biggest killers of people. If you go throughout history, I mean, you could talk about flus and this and that. Look how many people corrupt governments have killed, like Mao Zedong and Stalin. I mean, the numbers are astronomical. So, this, like, people got too complacent. I feel bad for Australia, but that's why I do what I do in America. I appreciate everybody, but I'm not going to be at this moment, now that I've learned enough and figured it out. I'm not going to just be another fanboy for a Republican politician that any day will flip flop like a flip flop. I'm going to tell you, the way that we don't end up like New Zealand or Australia is not just by not being the left and fighting the left. It's by not turning into the left, because there's people in Canada that pretended to be conservatives, and then when push came to shove, they weren't. So now everybody's trapped there, and there is no political party. We have air. If this were like a sinking ship, we have a lifeboat in America. We have the First Amendment. We have the Second Amendment. We have a political party in this country that's not too bad. I mean, the Democrats are terrible. They're unrecognizable. They're horrible. You can't even be a Democrat and be somewhat decent, like Tulsi Gabbard. She's on her way out. She's on rumble.com. She's not even probably a Democrat anymore. She's like, F these people. They've gone insane. But the Republicans, there's some good ones. There's a lot of bad ones, and a lot of them are fake and they're wishy-washy. We have to not just fight the left, which is like a non-existent battle. It's like, hold your own party accountable. You have to, or else the Overton window is going to slide, and then you're going to go to the ballot box and you're not going to have an election. And that's kind of the case right now. If you voted for Trump or Biden, I voted for Trump. I voted for Pfizer and Moderna. That was my options. Either I'm voting for a vaccine salesman or a vaccine salesman. I'm voting for somebody who took, pharma money, and somebody who took pharma money. I'm voting for somebody who, is going to say the vaccine saved 100 million lives, and I'm going to vote for somebody who can't say anything because every time he talks, he makes mistakes. It's like, at a certain point, it kind of already happened in America. Trump's better than your average Joe in New Zealand, but in a way, we've already gotten to that point where we still got a lockdown under a Republican president. We didn't avoid the lockdown. We got a lockdown. So we're already almost there. That's why I do what I do. Don't let these goofy, talentless influencers who can't light a candle to what I'm doing tell you Anomaly is a paid Democrat to do the Democratic Party agenda. It's like, no, dummy. Listen, I explain every day what I'm doing. I explain it every day. Not that I need to, but I want people to understand why I do what I do. I'm a registered Republican. I believe in not only smaller government, but the only way out of this is to get them to leave us alone. And they have to stop reaching in our pockets or just printing money like out of their ass every year. And it happens every year with both parties. So that's why I say what I say. People that can't fathom it, they make up all these theories and they're like, anomalies that are turned on to Trump. It's like, just listen. I'll tell you. Someone said have to fight the Republicans and get the rhinos out. It's deeper than that, though, because a lot of these you think the people fighting the rhinos they're rhinos too. A lot of your favorite people are rhinos, but they're not even just rhinos. They are Republicans. They're not Republicans in name. Like the Republican Party, they're not this party that people think they are. They're still a political party. So I agree with you, but people got to really pay attention more and don't think these people are like Aquaman. For example, I just want to tell you with me. Thank you, Marla. I always see you here. I appreciate you being here. With me, obviously people like me because I'm funny. Sometimes I wear a goofy hat, whatever, but it's the content. You know what I'm saying? Every day I go into work, every day I live stream, every day I make a video. I'm only as good as my last video. There's a Andre 3000 lyric from Outkast. It's a rap group. He said, "Baby boy, you only funky as your last cut," which means like you're only as good as the last thing you did. So I don't go in and say I made that video in 2016. Every day I go to work, every day I get to my editing thing, I'm trying to outdo my next video. Why? Because I want to put out good content, but also, I don't want people to just like me for me. I appreciate you, but I want to be great at what I do, and I want to constantly put out great videos. And I'm not going to live off of something I did 5 or 6 years ago. So if I ever put out shitty videos or I start becoming a shill, it's not your job to say, well, I really like Anomaly because he's got a good personality. It's like, no, if my videos start sucking, then you should not like me. I'm totally fine with that. I don't want special privilege. If I'm the president of the United States and I start selling vaccines after I said that I was a skeptic of them and I lock down and say Sweden's so bad, I would expect you to not like me too. I would hope that you don't. I don't want you to just love me because you like my jokes and stuff. I'm not a joker. Trump was not, he's a president. He's not if he's Dave Chappelle, it's like, who cares if he has a bad set? He's the president of the United States. So I want you to hold me to the same standards as them. So if they give you a head fake and then they go the other direction, it's not your job to slobber over a politician and think that they're your idol. In the same way, it's not your job to act like my content's amazing if my content sucks. The difference is I just keep putting out really good videos all the time. I do good research. And I try to make, when I do like those deep diving videos, I try to make great videos because I don't live off of what I did 3 years ago. I'm not Donald Trump saying I closed black unemployment in 2018 and I did this. It's like, yeah, but then you also destroyed the economy because you fell for the little Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx stuff. So, you're only as, I don't want people to like slobber over me just because they think I'm funny. Like if my videos start sucking, and my content starts being fake and stupid and like delusional and like Scott Adams, for instance, I make fun of him every day on Twitter because he's terrible. It's like Scott Adams is a really nice guy. I like him. I bet we'd get along, but his COVID takes are garbage. He's perhaps the worst influencer on the right when it comes to COVID. It's trash and everybody realizes it. It's like, it's not if his content's garbage for 3 years, like you're not supposed to just be like, well, I like his stuff from 2015. It's like, that's his job. At least now it's like you're allowed to disagree with somebody you like. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not asking for different standards. It's just like these politicians give you the world. They give you what you want. They give you a head fake. They join the other team and people don't even realize it because they feel like they have to be loyal to who that person was 2 years ago. Not if they're a public servant. They're there to serve you. I know they don't, but that's what they're supposed to do. If I run for office, I'm not your best friend. I'm running for office. If I'm a mayor, I'm the mayor. I'm running the town. I mean, be nice to me, I guess. But at the same time, I'm not like, People get so fooled because these people are good salesmen. To be a politician, you have to be like a car salesman. You got to be funny, nice, like you got to be smooth. So that's what they do. Just don't fall for it. Do I know Tommy Carento? I don't. Someone said, why is Twitter not censoring the Taliban leaders? Well, because they're hypocrites. But here's what I want people to understand. It's weird that they're censoring the president, not the Taliban, but they shouldn't censor the Taliban, and they shouldn't have censored the president of the United States. In a fair society, you should hear the Taliban and you should hear Trump. It's disgraceful what they did to President Trump. Even though I disagree with Trump's vaccine sales, he has the right to sell them on Twitter and say what he wants to say. So the Taliban actually brought that up in an interview. They asked the Taliban about their crazy rules and stuff, and the Taliban said, why don't you ask that to Facebook? Facebook kicked people off all the time, and the ex-president, the Taliban literally said that, and they're not wrong. I'm not agreeing with everything that they do, obviously, but we don't have the moral high ground anymore. We can't critique Islam if our liberals are doing harsher censorship than Islam. And Islam actually does censorship in a way that is supposed to be like man, woman, God, like, you're not out for everybody else, like you're for your husband. It's not just like censor the ex-president of the United States because he hurt our feelings and, we think he's a dangerous person. Like the Facebook, the Taliban is right about that, not everything, but if you're going to critique the Taliban for censoring their people, why don't you critique Facebook, Google, and they've become worse. It's gross what they're doing to America, forcing people to do certain things, medical, wear a mask, lock down, your business gets bankrupt. They're disgusting. So, and it's funny because in America, if you talk to conservatives, they're not going to know this. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just reading certain takes. If you talk to certain conservatives, they disagree with LGBT narrative being pumped down their kids' throat. They disagree with abortion. They disagree with conversion therapy. They disagree with all this stuff. And if you look at the Taliban, they actually agree with Christian conservatives more than liberals do. I'm not saying that Christians are the Taliban. That's what, liberals are trying to say, like, what's his name? They're trying to compare the capital to the Taliban or whatever. That's their little trick. But I'm just saying they're actually more conservative than liberals. They're more conservative than Christians. So I'm not saying they're perfect, but it's like they hate America because America tries to come over to Afghanistan and they're like LGBT flag, Black Lives Matter, conversion therapy, abortion. And the Taliban's like, no, that's disgusting. You're like, why are you censoring your women? They're like, why are you censoring everybody on Facebook? It's like, we can't critique everybody else until we get better. I don't want to go to Afghanistan. I don't want to hang out with the Taliban. I want to live in America. They're not my people. We're our people. You're my people. But we don't have bragging rights anymore. We're a creepy, weirdo culture. We need to focus on ourselves. We need to fix Los Angeles. I wouldn't even go to San Francisco, let alone Afghanistan. I want to see Mark Zuckerberg outside sweeping the streets of San Francisco and stop censoring the ex-president. And then we could talk about how bad the Taliban is. Until then, they have become authoritarian. They've become stricter than Islam when it comes to what you can and can't say. And to be quite fair, I'm Christian. I am not Islamic, but I do have Islamic friends. I respect Islam more than I respect liberals. Islam is a strict religion, but there's reasons that they do it. I'm not saying I agree with them. It's not my religion, but it's reasons that go along with nature. Liberals restrict and censor and become authoritarian in the exact opposite direction. They become extremists against nature. Everything they want to do is the opposite of what God intended. So I respect Islam more than I respect liberals. And if you don't agree with me, you're an Islamophobe. So I could play that game too. Oh, well, Anomaly says this. Don't be an Islamophobe. You should respect Islam more than liberals too. Someone said it's the liberals who are the same as well, they're a different type of authoritarianism, but I would say it makes even less sense. And I'm not Islamic. I don't want to live with the Taliban. But if you gave me what they want to do and what liberals want to do as far as the ethics and codes and said which one is closer to nature and God, I would be like, that one. Liberals are like abortions, critical race theory, like, gay SpongeBob, surgeries when you're 3 years old and you don't even know who you are. It's like liberals are disgusting in America. It wasn't always this way. Everything that they're doing now was not what they were doing 10 years ago. When I leaned more left, none of this stuff was happening. If it was happening, I would have known then. I would have been like, these people are psychotic. So they're not better. I'm sorry. They're really not. And it sucks because liberals in the 1990s were better, not anymore. And I'll tell you what, you should look at what they did in Afghanistan as an insane feat. I mean, they somehow beat the strongest army in the world. I'm American, but it's like they somehow withstanded the US Army. They're pumped right now. They're like, get the hell out of here. Like, how in the world did they win? Did they even have an army and a military? Like, we failed so hard in Afghanistan, but now they're going to do what they want to do. It's not my business. I'm focused on America. People are like, anomaly, come to LA, come protest in LA. I don't want to go to LA. I'd probably rather go to Afghanistan than go back to LA. LA sucks. I lived there for 7 years. It's disgusting. I have flashbacks of how gross it is. And everywhere I was walking, I had to look over my shoulder. There's crackheads, people getting jumped in the street and stuff. It's like, I don't want to go back to, I'd rather fly to Syria or Afghanistan than go to LA. And I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying that's my prerogative. If someone said, do you want to go do a story? I'm like, no. Someone said, I used to love LA. I live there. My friend, I'm going to give you a story real quick. My friend, I still have friends in Los Angeles, obviously. My friend, who's a female, she went to Kitchen 24. Kitchen 24 is like a big breakfast all day sort of place on, I think it's on Cahuenga Boulevard, but it's in Hollywood anyway. I used to live out there. Kitchen 24 is now vaccine only, mandatory vaccinations. Okay. So she goes in, she wasn't vaccinated. They won't serve her. So now she is like a slave tier, peasant tier citizen because she didn't get the jab, and she's younger than me. I don't know, maybe like 28, 27. Not in an age range like she's like 75, obese or something. She's like probably 30, whatever. Anyway, they don't serve her at Kitchen 24. She leaves a Yelp review on Kitchen 24 and says, I disagree with them not serving me. And Yelp emails her and says, we're sorry, because of the sensitivity of the issue or whatever, we're not going to allow this to be posted. So you're getting banned in Los Angeles, in America, in the greatest country in the world. You're getting banned from a restaurant because you didn't get a non-FDA approved jab that went from the Israeli studies from 95% effective in just a few months to somewhere around 39% effective in their own words, in their own data. And because you're opting out of this ongoing experiment when they're not even sure whether they're going to give you a booster or not, or when, you can't eat there, and you also can't complain about it. They will delete your complaint. We live in a Black Mirror Orwellian episode. I'm sorry, but we can't tell the Taliban what to do until we get better. This is evil what we're doing. We are wicked. We are wicked. We can't go to Syria and tell them what to do. We can't go to Libya and tell them what to do. We're not a model country anymore. We're a disgusting country. What's happening in Australia is disgusting. What's happening in New York City is disgusting. What's happening in Los Angeles is beyond wicked. That's not the God at work right there. That's Mr. 666. Mark of the Beast Boy. Beelzebub. Unbelievable. People come out here to protest. I would love to join the protest, but honestly, I don't want to go to Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm tired of them. I've been there. What do I think of Orthodox Christianity and the prophecies from saints in our time, to name a few, St. Piezos? I've never heard their prophecies, to be honest, so I can't really have an opinion. All right, what time? Where are we at? All right, we're at one. All right, a couple more minutes. Let's get one or two more questions in. Someone said 39%. That's impressive. I have to just hold this up because I know they're going to say like, oh my God, that's a conspiracy theory. They wrote an article about me in NPR. Hopefully they learned their lesson, because it's like, I don't mind if you write an article about me, just be honest. They're like, this kooky conspiracy theorist is sharing CNN articles. Oh no. It's like, you guys are idiots. Like, you did this, you report this shit. I just show people and you're like, oh no. It's like, if you don't want people to know it, don't write it in CNN, for Christ's sakes. But anyway, I got to hold these up. This is this is CNBC. This is Reuters. This one is from February. It says Israel study finds that Pfizer's 95% effective. That sounds good. Is it true still? Not according to CNBC in July. It says Israel's COVID vaccine, the Pfizer, is just 39% effective. Wow. Just dropped effectiveness. I mean, it just the delta. I'm sorry you keep lying to people all the time. I'm sorry that you're doing this experiment ongoing and you just keep switching your numbers. I'm sorry that you're trying to blame everybody for it. It's like it's a research. If I make a product and the world is the world and there's variants and people and this and that, it's not everybody else in the world's fault. Like, you didn't know that this could mutate or variants or strain. Like, give me a break. If that's really what's going on, like, they didn't even know. Oh, I mean, we had the perfect. Does anybody believe this shit? We had the perfect product. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, we designed it in a lab and it's perfect. It's going to be 95% effective. I mean, we had it all figured out. And then the Delta, I mean, no one could have saw this coming. We had virologists across the world just stunned by the Delta because our product was perfect until the Delta came. And the Delta and the unvaccinated just merged and they just, now we need a booster shot. It's like, does anybody believe this crap? Somebody must. Somebody has to believe that crap. You can't tell the truth. You're literally not allowed to tell the truth. When the World Health Organization, and by the way, the World Health Organization doesn't even agree with them. They're like telling Israel to stop doing it, and Israel's doing it. The FDA hasn't even cleared Joe Biden's plan. Don't let them kid you. The experts don't always agree with each other, and you're not allowed to disagree with them. Come on, who wants to play me in basketball? Stop playing with the kid. Anyway, they don't want it with me. My crossover's disgusting. Anyway, when they were saying the death rate was 3.4, I made a video in March and I said, here's why I think the death rate is not 3.4. I was right. The World Health Organization was wrong. Why? Why were they wrong? Why was I right? Why, with all the experts? Because they weren't telling. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. They weren't telling the truth. It's a 3.4 death rate. And then a couple months later, they said, oh, it's way lower than that. What changed? I'll tell you. I said it in March. I said, there's not that many COVID cases available. They're only testing the Utah Jazz. If you're famous, you can get one. At the beginning, everybody couldn't get a COVID test. It was like the expense of Tesla, like only a few of them. So when there's only a few tests and only people that are really sick are getting them, or only celebrities are getting them, you're going to have like thousands of tests. And then there's going to be a couple COVID cases, a couple COVID deaths, whatever. And that number is going to look huge because everybody's not getting tested. So as they start talking about unsymptomatic and asymptomatic, and I'm like, well, nobody has the test yet. So once the test got out to the whole world, then all of a sudden the cases spiked, the deaths spiked, but also the case to death ratio decreased. So it went from a 3.4 death rate to a 1.6 to a 1.0 to a 0.8, 0.7, and they're like 0.1. They're debating it. That was always basic math. Like, you don't need to be a wizard to do this math. I'm not even that good at math. This is like third grade math. It's a division equation. You take the number of cases and the number of deaths, and you put them together and you do that equation, and then you find out what the death rate is. So when they said it was a 3.4 death rate, it wasn't like this mystical data just shocked the nation and the World Health Organization was stunned. That's just what they tell you because they're either liars or just wildly incompetent. How can I know with a cell phone calculator that the death rate probably wasn't going to be 3.4 for very long? But they didn't know. Either they're the stupidest people in the world or they're just not telling you the truth. It's that simple. And then millions of cases get out, or millions of tests get out, and then the cases spike, and then the deaths spike, and the difference between that gets lower. Why? I just told you. Unbelievable, these people. All right, let's end on one good comment. If anybody's monitoring me, they're having so much fun. Like they're waiting for me to make a mistake with it. It's all mainstream stuff. I hold it up to the camera for that reason. You want to? I'll fact check myself. I'm better than your fact checkers. Snopes reported that the CEO of Snopes, by mistake, just plagiarized like dozens of things. It's like the leader of the fact checker organization literally plagiarized. I don't plagiarize. I tell you where I get it from and I show you. I give credit. This is who's fact checking me. Someone said Styx is twerking on Satan's lap. That's true. It's disgusting. All right, we need one good question or comment. I'm sorry. We need one more. All right, I'm going to read this. Someone said, I'm going to read this real quick. Omri said, hey, from Israel, we are going to more restricted laws about coronavirus, and we are vaccinated. Wake up, world. They are liars, Democrats and Republicans. Omri, I appreciate you from Israel, because I want to say this real quick. I'm glad you said that. God bless you, Omri. God bless Israel, and God bless all my Israeli supporters. I get misconstrued because I'm so honest. That's my problem. I'm too honest. I don't care what they say. I don't care what the ADL says or Ben Shapiro says. I actually like Israelis. I actually like everybody. If you're a good person, I don't care if you're black, Israeli, Palestinian. That's not my job. I don't work for a government, okay? I like everybody. Unless you're annoying, then I just don't like you. And I don't have to pretend I like you. It's like, well, he's this color. I'm like, if he's annoying, he's annoying. I don't care if he's the same race as me. But anyway, people try to say, oh my God, Anomaly's talking about this. Anomaly's talking about it's so anti-Semitic. It's so if you care about Israelis and you care about Jews, why don't you talk about the data? Nobody's doing that, right? That's why I do that. I'm not going to sugarcoat things about hate speech. It's not about that. In Israel, I have the data from yesterday, 2 days ago. Look at the cases now with 60% of Israel vaccinated versus then. I love Israel so much. I don't want them to be under a lockdown. I'm sorry. It's like all these other Republicans are like, he nailed it. Omri nailed it from Israel. He said that the Democrats and the Republicans are lying to you. The Republicans are like, that's an anti-Semitic. It's like, bro, nobody cares that Abby Martin is speaking on a college campus. Like, they're like, we need to shut down the protest. It's like the BDS boycott is not even going to do anything to Israel. You think Israel cares if like 50 kids on a college campus don't buy Ben and Jerry's? That's not the big scoop, pun intended. If you really care about Jews, ask yourself why their government is about to lock down the citizens again over a freaking coronavirus, where 60% of them are vaccinated. And I always have the Israel data. You could say, Trump claims he's the king of Israel. You could say that. No, I'm not even going to claim that. That's sacrilegious. But I'm just kidding. I'm just tired of people. They're like, Anomaly says too much about Israel. I'm like, I like Israelis. I like Israel. I'm sorry that I don't want them to be under a lockdown, and I'm going to tell them that I'm like boycotting Ben and Jerry's. That's the Republican Party. That's how much they love Jews. They're like, it's so anti-Semitic that Ben and Jerry's pulling out of Israel's Palestine. It's like, Ben and Jerry are Jewish. Look up their names. It's like Ben Greenfield, Jerry Cohen or something. I'm not joking. Literally look their names up. They're both Jews. Anyway, they're like liberal atheist Jews who hate themselves. Whatever. They make really good ice cream, so I eat it. Even though it's probably terrible for you. I like Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Anyway, everyone's talking about that all the time. Well, Ben and Jerry are pulling their ice cream out of Palestine, and that's the real anti-Semitic. It's like, no one cares about Ben and Jerry's ice cream in Palestine. The real story is the Israel lockdown. The real story is there's millions of Jews in Israel and in America who don't want to get the vaccine. And there's millions who do, but there's millions who don't. So stop forcing people to do this shit. That's the real story. I'm so tired. I'm glad Omri's there from Israel. He's like, the Democrats and the Republicans are lying. I'm so tired of the Republicans being like, the lefts are the real racists. It's like, you're both really annoying, both of you. You guys talk about nothing all the time. You're like, in order to save Jewish people, we need to pass speech laws in Florida schools. It's like, that doesn't help Jewish people. No one cares. If you want to help them, talk about the data. Someone said no one deserves lockdowns. You're damn right. Not Peru, not Israel, not Palestine, not Australia, not New Zealand, not Africa. You're damn right no one deserves lockdowns. So that's the big story. We're going to talk about it. And I'm tired. People, you have no idea how many people are like, dude, I can't believe Anomaly said that. Like, I say what I think because I'm not a hateful person. I know it might not sound right to certain people, but I don't care. I don't want to talk about pronouns and how much it hurts your feelings. Like, dual citizenship makes you hurt your, big boy spot or so. It's like, there's a bigger picture going on. And if you're a good person, you're a good person. And the governments around the world are going crazy. It's like Canada's going crazy. Doug Ford in Canada, he was like, I'm going to make Canada great again. He's a fraud too. He acted like he was this Trump figure. Morrison in Australia. It's like a big clown show all over the world, and real people get it. So someone said, I don't like political ice cream. You have to be honest though. Ben and Jerry's is super fire. They protest the left. They call everybody white supremacists and white nationalists, and now they're crying about Israel. I mean, they definitely cry way too much for somebody who should just shut up and make ice cream. But they're mad at the right, they're mad at the left, they're mad at Israel. I'm not gonna lie, I like their ice cream though. Fish food, they got like a bunch of gooey, like marshmallow stuff, like whatever. It's like, you can't, if you want to boycott them, that's fine. But when they said they were boycotting, I was like, all right, let me pick up some of your disgusting ice cream. Let me see what the big hype is. I hear you guys talking shit all the time. But anyway, God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Hope you enjoyed it today. Stay strong, stay blessed. Whether you're in Australia, Israel, New Zealand, America, Afghanistan. I doubt I have any supporters from there, but maybe I do. The key is, I'm going to just say this because I say it every stream. I wish we just had 5 days to slow the spread and that was it. It's clearly not the case. Booster shots are around the corner. Booster shots are already hitting Israel. The efficacy is not what they said it was 5 months ago. And the further they push, they're not making exemptions. They're not trying to say, well, since we were a little wrong about this or this happened to you, we're going to let you do that. It's a one-size-fits-all approach. Everybody gets a lockdown. Everybody gets a mask mandate. You got a vaccine, you still have to get a test on a rural Caribbean. People got to wake up, whether you're vaccinated or not. I don't care what race or religion you are. I seriously don't. People need to realize you're not going to be saved from this tyranny. It's going to affect you, and it obviously probably already is. The only way to get through this is to say no and let the people in charge know that they can't just do this for the next 30 years, because they will. That's the way to get around it. I hope people realize, and I'm optimistic. I don't know. I live in America. Sorry, Israel. Sorry, Australia. Sorry, New Zealand. I live in America. It's pretty good here. I pray and I hope that we don't ever lock down again. I don't think we will, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm keeping that energy. So hopefully that happens. Everybody stay strong in New York. And please, understand you're not alone. And you can do what you want. Obviously, I'm not trying to advise anybody, but I know so many people that did everything that they told them, and they're still in the same spot as everybody else. And it sucks, but people need to start asking the tough questions. Thank you guys. Telegram, t.me/dreamer chat. Australia video, check that out if you haven't. Email, if you're on my email list, stayintouchwithme.com. That's, if you type it at the top, stayintouchwithme.com. That's all one word, stayintouchwithme.com. Free email list. I'm going to send out an email tonight. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put in it, but I barely send out emails, so I'm going to make a good one tonight and send that out. Thank you guys so much. And I have a clips channel. Everybody says, Anomaly, you talk too much. It's true. I don't have time for that. Understandable. Who does? Some people clearly do. But anyway, I like to listen to long podcasts, and I know some people don't. Dream Rare Clips, my YouTube channel. My new one is called Dream Rare Clips. If you watch that long Australia video, I'm clipping all of the Australia people, all 5 of them, in 5 shorter clips. So if you like one person more than the other, clips, 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 clips. I sound like a doctor when a baby. No, I'm just kidding. That's disgusting. Clips, clip. That was a joke that just did not need to be. I'm sorry. That was totally inappropriate. I have to go think about what I said. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. I had fun. Hopefully you did. Stay strong. Stay blessed, and do not let these psychos like run you in circles forever, please.